Today we're making liquid gold, aka brown beef stock, completely from scratch. Do you ever wonder why the sauce or the food in the restaurant is much better than home? Yes, of course, they went to culinary school, they know what they're doing. Well, most part of them do at least. But they can't be it. It can't just be technique with temperatures, cooking times and so on that makes a great dish. And I've done some thinking and some research, and one of the components that they get a really head start when doing in the kitchen is this. This is a beef stock. This stock is like having a race with the restaurant. They have a Ferrari, you have a bicycle, and you guess who will win. So we already have a head start and you have no chance to catch up to them. So for that reason, I'm gonna do what this channel does best, is simplify this beef stock so it's easier to cook and easier to have always in the freezer and in the fridge. So I always have a great stock to begin with. So without further ado, let's get cooking. This is really straightforward, but takes time. So we're just gonna roast the meat to begin with, so let's start the oven. We're gonna layer the vegetables in the bottom, and on the top we're gonna place and let them really roast and create that nice caramelization we're looking for. And then we just put it in a big pot. If you don't have one, big ones is quite expensive actually, but what I did is went to a thrift store and bought this bad boy for $10. So if you don't have one, go to a thrift store, I would recommend, or of course buy a new one, but I guess the new one is quite more expensive. And yeah, after roasting, put it on the stove and let it simmer, and then we go from there. And it's pretty straightforward. You will need beef, and in this case I'm using some beef bones, some beef tendons, and some beef with the beef marrow still attached. And you can pretty much cook this with any meat you have. What I've chosen now is that I had some frozen bone marrow in the freezer, and I just bought cheap cuts of meat from my butcher. You can buy beef bones, that's great, but you want to have some meats still on it. And the foundation of the broth will be onion and leek. And we're gonna add some celery as well to give them some nice pepperiness, and also a bunch of carrots to give them nice sweetness. And of course we're gonna have a big pinch of parsley, and also gonna use some thyme as well. And we're gonna save the parsley for later, and also celery. That's more of a flavoring than a roasting vegetable. There's really no need to make a fuss here. You can just roughly chop up everything. And I'm gonna save everything now and feed our chickens. So if you want to see the chickens getting fed, there is a link down below to the other channel. And to flex on our eggs, we have some nice green ones, nice brown ones, and some white ones. And it's such satisfying to go outside and pick your own eggs. And ideally you want to have some more yellow onions. I don't know why, but I have run out of onions, so I'm gonna use red onions as a complement and some extra leek. And it's perfectly fine to put them in with the skin on. Gonna roast them, and we're not gonna eat them. We're gonna boil them and then sieve them away. And same here, perfectly fine to use the little bit more older leek here. Just make sure that you washed it, and then you're good to go. Now, as I said, it's just slab those things on there. I'll put the bone marrow in the middle, so the idea it will melt out. Let's put this in the oven. Of course we can't leave any goodies in here, so we'll have some boiling water to help us get that last flavor out of the pan. And also I have a bunch of parsley roots, so let's add that as well. Some bay leaf and also some black pepper seeds. Now it's time to fill this up with water and let the simmer begin. What I'm gonna do now is to turn on the stove and put the lid on and let it boil up to get the heat going, and after that I'm gonna let the temperature go down a bit and let it simmer. For how long it's gonna take, I don't know, maybe around 4-5 hours, we'll see. So now after the boiling, I'm gonna use one of these sieves So what we're gonna do now is put it outside because it's really cold outside, but what we can also do is put it in your freezer if you're in a hurry, or the fridge, and let this set a bit. Because we want, I'll show you, because we want this top layer of fat to disappear, so we later can spoon the fat layer out, and then we have our beautiful stock nice and ready. And this plastic film helps that no bacteria comes in the stock, so we'll have a longer shelf life. So yeah, let's put this outside. And as I said, this will help to have a longer shelf life, to cool it down quicker, and also we will have a nice and easy way to skim out the fat top layer. So yeah, see you in a bit. So the stock now has been sitting all night in the snow, so it's nice and cool. So we're gonna have a look and see how it looks. And as you can see, we have a nice layer of fat on the top. So skip that part away and only leave the beautiful, nice gelatinous stock. You can see it's a nice layer on top. It's almost like a candle. I think a lot of the orange come from actually the carrot, because the carrot has a lot of coloring probabilities. And I will save this fat part on top to roast some potatoes instead of using oil. It will create a nice flavor. So here we have it. The stock is ready. I'm gonna heat it up now first and give it a taste test. Well, so let's see now. It took almost, well, 6 hours of boiling yesterday, 12 hours of waiting. It smells much more beefier, very deep smelling meat soup or something it smells like. So smell test pass. So let's see. Deep meat flavor. Some nice peppery from the black pepper and celery, but also some sweetness, probably from the onion and the carrots. I mean, and also the consistency from the bone marrow is a little bit more gelatinous than your normal buy in the store beef stock. Happy about this. You see some seasoning, maybe some salt for example, but I don't want to add that because I have more control later. If I put it in a sauce, I can always add salt, but I can't remove it. So instead of the store-bought one where you have lots of salt, this is much better way to make your sauce the way you like it. Yeah. That's great. So what have we learned doing this? Well, it takes time, but the result is, it's not comparison. You can't really compare it to the store-bought one. And also, it's really easy. Just throw some leftover vegetables, throw some leftover meat in a pot, let it boil. You don't really need to do anything with it. Cool it down, skin the top off, and you have yourself a nice stock. In this case, a brown stock. Will I do this again? Yeah, for sure. To be honest, I've been a little bit scared about the stocks, and I don't know. It just feels you need to do it a certain way, and if you don't have certain vegetables, you will fail. But, well, I didn't have all the vegetables in the recipe. It ended up great anyway. So, yeah, I think the lesson here is just do it. And as I said earlier, I have started a second channel where I show all my homesteading and growing food and animals and taking care of the farm and so on. So if you want to learn more about homesteading and growing your own food, check out this channel down below. It's called Scandinavian Homestead. Much appreciated if you would subscribe there as well and give that channel a little bit of a love. Also, you can find me on Instagram here. I always post behind the scenes, what I'm doing and planning for the videos and so on. So lots of fun stuff over there. And as always, I post new videos every week. So make sure to hit that subscribe button down below. And guys, I see you in the next one.